Hi guys, welcome. Who dat? I'm Joe, and today I'm going to bring you my 53-man roster prediction for our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. First, I'm going to show you the players that I are certain are going to make the team, and then we'll add piece by piece until we get to 53. Now, this is what I think the Saints are going to do, not necessarily what I would do. Let's start with the offense. So right here, I'm going to present the 15 players that I am certain, without a doubt, are going to make the team. That includes our starters. Quarterback, Derek Carr. At running back, we've got Alvin Kamara as our starter. Now we know Kamara is going to be suspended for the first three games. So we're certainly going to have Jamal Williams as a starter. And we have the rookie Kendre Miller, who's going to make this team. I think regardless of what happens, all of this is barring injury and other crazy stuff. Fullback Adam Prentice. I would like a tight end who could play fullback and get rid of this position altogether, but Saints love a fullback. I love utilizing a fullback. I just wish a tight end could do it. But I'm going to put Prentice here as a guarantee. At wide receiver, we've got Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed. I think those are the three bona fide locks. At tight end, we're going to put Jawan Johnson and Taysom Hill, who, is Slash. And then across the offensive line, left tackle Trevor Penning, left guard James Hurst, and I'm throwing Andres Pete in here as well. Center Eric McCoy, right guard Cesar Ruiz, right tackle Ryan Ramczyk. Now, I know there's some talk that Pete might not make the final cut. I think he's too good of a player. I know we're paying him $5 million this year, which is a big pay cut from what he was making. And Andres Pete is a left tackle and a left guard, but he cannot play the right side. However, I think this is as good as you're going to get for a backup. You've got James Hurst. Something happens to Penning, you can either put Pete or Hurst there. If something happens to Hurst, you can put Pete right back at guard. And, Cesar Ruiz is a backup center, technically. So these are 15 offensive players that I think are guaranteed a spot. Now, let's pull this offense up next to us here for a second. We know we're going to need a couple of more offensive linemen, at least two more offensive linemen. We're going to need at least one more tight end. And we're certainly going to need at least two, in my opinion, two more wide receivers, at least two more wide receivers. Of course, we need a backup quarterback besides Taysom Hill. And when Kamara's gone, we're going to need probably two more running backs. When Kamara's gone for the first three games of the season. But this is where our offense sits right now with 15 players. All right. Let's pull up the defense and look at those guarantees. In my opinion, I think guaranteed spots: left end Cameron Jordan, right end Carl Granderson and Peyton Turner. Defensive tackle Nathan Shepard, Colin Saunders as your starters. Your first round draft pick, Brian Bresee, rotating in. Guaranteed. Your will side linebacker, Pete Werner, and your middle linebacker, Demario Davis. I don't have a starting Sam here, but you're going to need one, and you're going to need depth. I'm just not sure if we're going to go ahead and roll with Jalen Smith at the Sam, or we're going to stick with Zach Bond, who's already proven to be a decent special teamer. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank for right this second. Cornerbacks, we're going to have Marshawn Lattimore, Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo, and Bradley Roby. And I guarantee Bradley Roby because he is our starting nickel. We've been working Taylor at nickel, but we've also been working Ugo Amadi ahead of Taylor at nickel. I think guaranteed right now are these four: Adebo, Roby, Lattimore, Taylor. Strong safety, Marcus May. Free safety, Tyrann Mathieu. Those are the two guarantees. And altogether, that makes 14 players for the defense. Pull the defense up right next to me for a second. I think we all know how it's going to end up at defensive end. But we certainly need at least two more players on this defensive line. We're going to need at least two more linebackers. And we're going to need a couple of more secondary people, you know, in my opinion, backup safeties. Altogether, I think the Saints are going to run with 10 DBs total. But these are the guarantees, and then how you want to fill in the blanks is up to you. Like I say, this is 14 players. And so right now, pulling up the offense and defense guaranteed next to me, we're looking at 29 players. So let's start to fill in the gaps a little bit. Okay. Let's pull up the offense again. And we're going to add 5 more players to this list. First of all, quarterback. Let's fade them in. We're going to go with Jameis Winston and Jake Haener. I think Jake Haener is the absolute guarantee backup quarterback because we don't want to put him on the practice squad. And Jameis Winston's been in our offense for quite a while. He's the veteran guy. We probably want to hold on to him so that Jake Haener doesn't have to be thrown into the wolves. Now, if it were up to me, your backup quarterback would be Taysom Hill and then Jake Haener, and we would work with Jake Haener to be the backup, and we'd have Taysom as a guarantee, and Winston would be gone. That's just me, but that's not what I'm predicting here. I'm predicting what the Saints are going to do. At running back, this is interesting. When Kamara is out, I think we're going to run with Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, probably Darrell Williams, and Ellis Merriweather. And after the first 3 games are gone, Kamara comes back. And I think at that point, who do you want as your 4th running back? You keep Darrell Williams or you keep Ellis Merriweather? Well, Williams is a pretty solid veteran guy. He's very reliable when it comes to pass blocking, and he can do everything. But I think Ellis Merriweather's going to sneak the roster spot when Kamara comes back. And I think because he's going to have an effect on special teams. I'm not sure how good Merriweather is at special teams, but I have a feeling that if it comes down to Merriweather or Darrell Williams as that 4th guy, I think you really want a special teamer. And I'm leaning towards Merriweather at that point. So I think we start the season with Kamara suspended, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, Darrell Williams, Ellis Merriweather. And when Kamara comes back, I think we put Darrell Williams on the practice squad. At wide receiver, the only other guarantee I am guaranteeing here, the only other person after the guarantees, is Keith Kirkwood. I think he's our number 4 right now. He didn't play in the game this past preseason. We sat out the starters, and he was one of them. He was completely healthy, and if we thought he needed work, he would have played. I think they value Keith Kirkwood as the number 4 right now. That was an area for Traquan Smith, but he's been hurt with a groin injury all preseason, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. So I'm putting in Keith Kirkwood here for sure. We're going to leave this. We're going to put Foster Moreau at tight end. I think he is the guaranteed technical, real backup tight end to Juwan Johnson. Even though Taysom Hill is slotted as a tight end, Taysom's your slash. Foster Moreau, to me, is your guaranteed backup tight end. And as far as offensive line goes, the only other one I'm willing to throw in here right away is Nick Saldiveri. If you've got James Hurst, who can play left tackle, left guard, right guard. You've got Andres Pete, who can play left tackle, left guard. You're going to need another backup guard at some point. If Ramczyk goes down, maybe Hurst can play right tackle. Penning goes down, Pete can play left tackle, Hurst can play left tackle, Hurst can back up guard. Hurst is your backup everything, but I think Hurst gets to start over Pete. So I think at this point you need another backup guard, and that's going to be Nick Saldiveri. Now you want someone who can play guard center. That would be ideal, and you would also like someone who can play guard or tackle on both sides. And that is just not something Pete does. All right, let me pull that offense up. So now we're up to 20 players on offense. We've added Winston, Haener, Kirkwood, Morrow, Saldiveri. We're up to 20 on offense. All right, let's pull up the defense. We're going to add 5 more to the defense. I am solidifying Malcolm Roach because he is a backup nose and 3 technique. And I think your defensive tackles are set here. I'm bringing in Zach Baun to be our starting Sam because he has been for years, and he's a great special teamer. But I'm also guaranteeing Jalen Smith a spot. Smith, in my opinion, can play all 3 of these spots. And I think Smith is invaluable when it comes to immediate backup to either Will or middle linebacker. Because I don't think Baun can play middle or Will. So Jalen Smith, to me, is there. Now, Dennis Allen said he wants to see how Jalen Smith fares on special teams, and this is important because linebackers typically play a big part of special teams. You got a technical starter in Baun that's a special teamer. You got a lot of backup linebackers who are good at special teams, including Ty Summers and Nephi Sewell and DeMarco Jackson. So Jalen Smith's going to have to get his toes wet in special teams. But I'm going to go ahead and put him in. The veteran presence as a backup at linebacker is important to me. And the only other DBs I'm going to guarantee right now, Jordan Howden and JT Gray. JT Gray is your special teams ace. And I think he plays every special teams formation. He plays on every special teams formation. I think last year JT Gray played 300 special teams plays. We're talking insane. He does everything. So I think he's a guarantee to make this team because of that. And Jordan Howden, and the reason why I have rookie Jordan Howden, he's a 5th-round pick. It doesn't guarantee him a spot, but he has been present in the practices, whether it is as your number 1 dime safety that comes in, he's done that. And when Matthews had a veteran day or when May has had a veteran day off, Jordan Howden has taken their place. He's been the guy to come in immediately. So technically, Howden is your backup safety right now. That's how camp has gone. He's come in for Matthew. He's come in for May. He's been playing a lot on special teams too. And Howden has a lot of experience at cornerback from college. So, he's a swing guy. So I think these are the guarantees. Let me pull the defense up next to me. That puts your defensive players to 19. So we've added 5 more on defense. Malcolm Roach, Jalen Smith, Zach Baun, Jordan Howden, JT Gray. That makes you 19 defensive players. Now, offense and defense next to me. 20 on offense, 19 on defense. That's 39. Which means we're going to add our 3 specialists right now. Long snapper Zach Wood, kicker Will Lutz, punter Blake Gillikin. That's 3 guarantees on special teams. Those are my picks, Lutz and Gillikin, along with Wood. So you have 39, 40, 41, 42. when you have the special teamers. So we're at 42. We need 11 more players. And you guys can pause this video and look at this, and I think you can fill in the blanks from there with which 11 players you would like, because it gets tough after this. I'm going to go ahead and make those additions right now next to me. And there's your 53-man roster projection. What I've done is added 6 more to the offense. I'm going with Ellis Merriweather. I think he's going to end up being the final 4th guy at running back. I think A.T. Perry is a lock at wide receiver as the number 5, along with Keith Kirkwood. But I'm going to go ahead and throw in Traquan Smith right here. He hasn't been available at all this training camp, but the Saints are so sold on him that, let's say they sign him and they just put him on IR, but eventually they're going to want Traquan Smith available. Now, when Traquan was a free agent, the only other team that showed interest was Atlanta. And I don't know if Traquan Smith would clear waivers or not. So I think what the Saints are going to do is we're going to definitely keep Kirkwood and A.T. Perry at wide receiver. We're going to sign Traquan Smith, and then we're going to put him on IR. And then there's a possibility we'll sign a 6th wide receiver at that point until Traquan's healthy. If we go that route, I'm leaning towards Shaq Davis, but I would not cut out Jontre Kirkland. Kirkland is just, he's one of those guys where you want to keep him around. I mean, hopefully we can waive him. He ends up on the practice squad, and he's available to us whenever. Okay, but he's a special cat, and I think he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be hard to keep on the practice squad. But when it's all said and done, Traquan Smith comes back healthy, and I think this is how the wide receiving room is going to pan out. At tight end, I've got Jimmy Graham here. Now, this is a move I would not do personally. I think we've already got good receiving tight ends in Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, and Foster Moreau. I think we really need a blocking tight end more than anything if we go 4th tight end. I'm leaning towards Ian Holtz at this point. You can play fullback, and you could get rid of Prentice. You'd have Holtz as your 4th tight end who could play fullback, and then you'd have an extra spot because you don't have Prentice anymore. And that way you can add somebody extra somewhere else. That's what I would do, but I'm going with what I think the Saints will do. And I've got Jimmy Graham there at tight end. At offensive line, we've guaranteed Pete and Saldiveri, and this is where it gets tricky. The Saints may go with Tommy Kramer, who has played left guard, center, and right guard during preseason. Tommy Kramer has graded out better than Max Garcia, who we've had at center for preseason as well. Apparently, Tommy Kramer hasn't allowed a pressure yet. It's very possible that because of Kramer's ability to play left guard and right guard, as well as center, that we could keep Kramer. I have penciled in Throckmorton here because he can play left guard and right guard. And I think Throckmorton, they're going to be trying him out at tackle as well, right tackle for sure. So that's why I'm iffy on that one. And Landon Young, the backup offensive tackle, true backup tackle. He can play left and right tackle. Storm Norton can't play anything else except for right tackle. So if you keep Storm Norton, you have a veteran, but he's limited. Landon Young has been hurt. So maybe we keep Landon Young on a temporary IR to start the year. We keep Storm Norton. But I think when it's all said and done, we're going to want the versatility of a guy who can play multiple positions, and that's Landon Young. It could also be, I can't think of his name, the kid, Lewis Kidd, who can play guard or tackle. Lewis Kidd was playing left guard, right guard for us, and he was playing right tackle, and then this preseason, we've put him at left tackle. It's a pretty big leap for that young kid. Pun intended. Lewis Kidd could be your backup right tackle. It could be Norton. But I think eventually it'll be Landon Young. So right now I've got penciled in Throckmorton, Landon Young. Okay, on defense. Now that puts your total of offensive players to 26. And on defense, our total is now at 24. I've got Tano Passanio as the best fourth defensive end who's going to make the team, and Isaiah Foskey. You want to go with Nico Lalos instead of Isaiah Foskey? It's possible. I mean, Lalos has been standing up playing a little linebacker too, so does Foskey want to learn how to stand up? Does Foskey want to learn how to stand up as a defensive end? Does he want to do something? He's a second-round draft pick. I just don't think we hang him out there to be taken. So I think we end up with 9 defensive linemen, with Passanio and Foskey rounding everything out. Linebacker's so tough. I want Nephi Sewell. I also want one more guy back there. Probably Ty Summers. Very, very possibly DeMarco Jackson. So I have a hard time keeping 6 wide receivers or 4 tight ends when I only have 5 linebackers. The Saints have been playing so much 3 linebacker defense in the offseason so far. So that's tough. I'm going to go with Nephi Sewell in the middle, Jalen Smith, who can play all across the board. And we're going to roll with 5 tight end or 5 linebackers. That's what I think the Saints are going to do. God, if it was me, I would keep Ty Summers too. I wouldn't have Foskey. I'm sorry. I mean, you made a mistake. I wouldn't have 9 defensive linemen. I would have 8. And finally, the secondary. I've added 2 more to make our total 10 DBs. I'm adding Ugo Amadi and Isaac Yiadom. Both of them special teams. Both of them special teamers. Amadi can play cornerback, nickel, and safety. Amadi can return punts for sure. And Isaac Yiadom is a great gunner. He's shown a lot of stuff at cornerback too, but he is a very good special teamer. And I think this is where it's going to come down to. If you want to keep a guy like Lonnie Johnson Jr. instead of Isaac Yiadom, that's a possibility. I think that Lonnie Johnson Jr. hasn't been as consistent as Yiadom. So this is where I make the choice. And when I say DBs, I'm seriously DBs because Lonnie Johnson can play safety and cornerback. So you want to be able to mix and match. So my list here, 24 defensive players total. All together, counting your 3 special teamers, that's 53-man roster prediction. What I think the Saints will do. You guys come back to this video, pause those rosters increments, and we'll see how it works.